Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Beastly Eel. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Marvel Zombies, the four-part episode series. How this actually starts. So, I don't know how much anybody remembers, but this is a continuation of the episode of Marvel Zombies in What If, season one. So the series starts with um, we bump into the three young Avengers. It is Riri Williams, Kamala Khan, and give me a second, Kate Bishop. I froze for a second. So anyway, we have the three of them kind of walking through this post-apocalyptic world. They're in the middle of the city. They're kind of looking for supplies in general. What they also have is an Iron Man suit, which looks like the nanotech one, and it is run by the AI known as Friday. So they're all flying around. Well, Friday's flying around, and they're kind of looking for supplies. Well, they see this massive. Well, they see a ship that they're assuming is like a. Well, it is a Quinjet type thing. So it crashes into the city. They go towards it because they're hoping to find resources for themselves. So they had found some soup or whatever else. But anyway, they continue on. They start looking around. They find the jet. They go in there. Kate apparently has stated that they go inside. They realize that the pilot is dead, and they must have swallowed something. Because something's being read inside their gut, basically. So they begin to, so they, Kate is like, well, I already did something gross. I'm not doing something gross again. So it's between the two of you. So Kamala and Riri do rock, paper, scissors until Kamala loses, who then uses her light energy to form like a glove to rip open the guy's stomach to pull out this device. Um, very little is known about it right that second, so they continue on from there. Um, they are then targeted by Hawkeye, who is a zombie, who is hoping to eat their flesh. Kate Bishop starts to use her own archery skills to best zombie Hawkeye, enough for them to escape. They're able to escape, they get out of there, and they go back to their home, which is apparently this like beautiful mansion that is solar powered and is outside of the city. And it looks like it's outside of most areas. We then find out that Okoye and many other zombies are surrounding the Quinjet, and they all have red glowing eyes. They're trying to figure out where the device is, or so we think. We're assuming that they're looking for the device. So they find Hawkeye, who they then, um, I guess you would say, like, use to do like I don't know whether you want to call it voodoo at this point because we don't know who it is yet. Um, and make her the use the Queen of the Dead's powers and infuse it into Hawkeye, who then joins their group. So they're doing Riri's doing all the scanning and everything else of what this device can do, and it turns out that they feel like the device can be used to call out to um, a place unknown to them, but if it's able, like there's some sort of device to be able to ask for help, specifically trying to figure out more. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't even think they know exactly what it is yet at this point, but they know it's a shield-esque thing, and the closest shield base is Ohio. And the group decides they're going to go together to basically stop this. So they go on this journey. Luckily, they don't have to deal with too many zombies at this point. They continue on. They see this massive crater in the mountain range that they decide to go through to basically get to their destination faster. However, apparently, where they were going was called um, Broken God Valley, I believe is what it was called. I forget now. But apparently, there was these energy blasts that were coming down. messed up their vehicle. They got flipped over. They're then trying to run away. Then we see Icarus versus a zombie um, Captain Marvel. So Kate Bishop uses an arrow she got from Hawkeye, a trick arrow, hits Captain Marvel right in the chest. However, it explodes into confetti, and she's then blown away to smithereens. Now all these zombies are coming, and Riri gets bitten. She then starts blasting everyone away, but she stabs herself with something. It's unclear exactly what she stabs herself with, but something goes in her. And Riri orders Friday to get Kamala out of there, along with the device. So Friday picks up Kamala, flies her out of there as quickly as possible, and then flies back to Riri. And Kamala's like, "No, you can't leave me here. I want to help." And Friday goes, "I've already lost one owner. I'm not losing another." And then we see this massive explosion over there, and we're under the impression that they're dead. Because apparently Kamala's then trying to run away, and Icarus and Captain Marvel continue their fight. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she gets knocked down. Some person on a motorcycle grabs her and picks her up, and it turns out to be none other than Blade, who's infused with, oh my gosh, Khonshu, who is obviously known um, as the god of the moon, the Egyptian god of the moon, to be specific. So anyway, he basically explains who he is and everything else, and says that he'd take her to Ohio because apparently Khonshu thinks it's the only way that this could work. So then they go to Ohio. They get to this place that is the Shield base, and it is entirely like, I don't want to phrase this. I don't want to say it's covered in zombies, but there's like a massive like moat or of zombies around this facility. And so all of a sudden they ask their purpose and everything else. Kamala explains what they're doing there. And then they stated that, you can come in. The zombies made a path. They went through. And we see none other than, oh my gosh, what is her name? It's the two widows. It's basically everyone from Black Widow except for um, Natasha. So it's the mother, it's Red Guardian, and then it's oh my gosh, I'm mixing up the wife and the daughter's name, and it's gonna piss me off now. But anyway, it doesn't matter right this second. So apparently, she's using the device or the technology that she was using in Black Widow to manipulate the zombies to do what they say, basically to do what she wants. And they take them inside without a problem, and it's all of them kind of figuring out what they're going to do. They scan the device, figure out that it's apparently to call the Nova Corps, who apparently the thought is they have the technology to be able to stop this virus from or cure this virus completely. So they then figure out that they're going to have to find a ship, and realistically, their plan was to figure out how they were going to get a ship to get out of there. However, while that's going on, a massive horde of zombies, and we find out led by none other than the Scarlet Witch, um, who is apparently the god of the dead or queen of the dead, because it can't be the god of the dead. That's Hela. But anyway, and they begin to go after and very smartly, by the way, like very tactical. A wave of zombies goes in first, they get blown up, then the next wave, and then Abomination gets called to go in. And then, oh, I'm sorry, Abomination throws Captain America's half body over there so they can fight. Um, a massive fight ensues, and um, like I said, they continue their fight and everything else. Then we have um, Red Guardian versus half of Captain America, and let's just say half of Captain America was giving Red Guardian a run for his money. He eventually smushes Captain America and smashes him to nothing by literally just jumping up and landing on the ground on his back while Captain America was on his back. They then have a zombie ghost destroying the rest of the Black Widows. They begin to, um, head for the escape area, basically to get on their vehicles and get out of there. However, while they're getting down there and everything else, um, the mother decides that she's going to deal with this herself, and she states that she's got this under control. You go and get everyone out of there. Um, Red Guardian is not happy about it, but she basically explains to him, just go. I can handle this. I can do this. So we had. Oh, I'm sorry. Then Ghost comes in. So she's dealing with that. Ghost phases through. We see the fight scene that we see in the trailer. Blade goes to town on Ghost, slices her up and everything else, and then they get out of there. We see her control of the zombies, and then all of a sudden the zombies turned back against her and started to attack her. While they're so Abomination starts breaking through everything, they then blow up the exit so that way he can't get out easily, and they take off and get out of there. So they go running. So then we have a cutscene to, or next episode we go to, um, what's it called? Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? No, it's so we have Shang-Chi and Kate. I believe it's Kate. We see them in the heart of, I think it's wherever they were. I think it was San Francisco. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They team up with Agent Wu when the zombie outbreak happens. They're trying to escape and everything else. Um, then all of a sudden they start having to fight zombies and everything else, and Shang-Chi shows his fighting ability while Agent Wu starts shooting everyone. Um, a bunch of other people are survivors are trying to help out as well. All of a sudden the Mandarin comes in and starts taking out zombies left and right. However, he's telling his son to go and leave everyone there. The son refuses. Shang-Chi gets bitten on the arm, and the Mandarin decides why, unclear as to why, in my opinion, but whatever. Throws the rings over to Shang-Chi, who he then gets devoured. Not Shang-Chi. The Mandarin gets devoured, and Shang-Chi gets the ring. It wraps around his arm to stop the infection. So he's got one dead arm, and everything else is kind of, I guess you would say, the way it's supposed to be. And he now has the 10 rings. So they then escape, and 5 years later, we get them in basically the middle of the desert, trying to get to the city on the water to basically be free of these zombies. However, they're being, I don't want to phrase this, pursued by Skrull biker gang. And then we see them basically go to town on everyone else. Um, and we see the ninja who is from Shang-Chi just take out a Skrull with ease without like little effort, just throws a knife, hits him in the head, and causes a massive crash and everything else. We see both Shang-Chi and Kate using the rings together. They're only using 9 rings because the 10th ring is on Shang-Chi's arm to stop the infection from spreading. They get to this area where it's the city in the water, or city on the water, or I forget what they call it, city by the water, something stupid. Anyway, we then have um, we now find out that the raft, which was a prison cell, is now being used as um, basically a floating city for Baron Zemo. And his right hand man is none other than John Walker, who right now I want to make very clear does not have the super soldier serum inside of him, because the events of Falcon Winter Soldier never happened. I just want to make that clear. So all these heroes are there, and Baron Zemo hates heroes. So he then decides that because their bounty is good enough and that they're willing to provide protection, that they will be allowed to be on the ship. So they get on the raft. Everything seems to be fine. They're all celebrating, eating, everything else. All of a sudden, the Atlanteans, who are apparently also zombies, begin to try to get into the raft. They're unable to. And then Baron Zemo basically states that if the leader ever comes, that's why we have the heroes here to protect us. However, we have the Queen of the zombies basically, be there and I want to phrase this, basically corrupt Namor to be part of the cause. So then goes towards the ship, the raft, to try to take them out. So we also have at this point Shang-Chi's group and Kamala, Red Guardian, White Widow as well. I just want to make that clear. So we have all that going on. We then have Kamala and her group get sucked out of the ship to be used as bait for the Namor zombie, basically. Shang-Chi and Kate were ready to break out to kind of fight and stop that from happening. However, they were unable to do so fast enough. Kamala uses a massive bubble of light around her, and that's when Namor crashes into it, slams it right into the raft. They all go in, including Namor. They all try to attack Namor. Bullets are not affecting him. Nothing's really doing much of anything. So they begin to try to do the best that they can. Apparently, it looks like so we see everyone trying to fight it. Walker gets killed. Um, who else gets killed? So Baron Zemo tries to go to his escape raft or escape pod to get out of there. We see a lot of the escape pods go out. We see a lot of Atlanteans break in to rip people's fleshes off. We see. I'm trying to think of who else dies. A lot of the non-named characters from Shang-Chi's group get killed, and they all go down to the basement to try to stop this all from happening. What else? So Namor and tries to attack them. They all team up together to try to fight Namor. Kamala's got her fist covered in light in Namor's mouth, while Shang-Chi and Kate are holding him down with the rings. She then makes this massive, like, spiked ball from her fist that basically blows up his head. And when they begin to go down to deal with Baron Zemo to get off there. So they get down. He realizes that they can't get out of there, at least not easily. Um, White Widow decides that she's going to go down there and set everything up. She reprograms everything. She gets it going and sends them off. He then, Red Guardian's like, "What are you doing? You need to come." And she goes, "No, no, no. There's not enough time. You're gonna have to go without me." So she sends them off. The raft basically gets destroyed. We're assuming she's dead along with everyone else, and they head towards New Asgard. So they go to the place that is known as New Asgard. Um, they go there, and there's these bunch of zombies with basically spikes through them, or spears through them, I should say. We see Valkyrie at the gate, basically stating that. Oh, I'm sorry, we did forget something. This is an important piece for sure. So before we get to New Asgard, we find out what happens to the group. So the group basically escapes. They find out that there's this guy, Thanos, who is trying to use all of the stones to basically destroy the planet. So we have Black Panther, we have the floating head of Scott Lang, and Spider-Man trying to face a zombie Thanos. Now, zombie Thanos was apparently starting to learn his abilities as time went on because he couldn't quite get the Infinity Gauntlet to snap. Granted, he did have all the stones at one point. My point I'm making is he couldn't use them as easily as he could when he was alive. So they begin the fight and everything else. Thor comes to help out with Stormbreaker. Rocket Raccoon, and Groot are there as well. They're all trying to take down Zombie Thanos. Zombie Thanos blasts Groot and Rocket Raccoon to nothing, causing Thor to basically be burned. To be fair, during this time, we assuming him to be dead. We then had Spider-Man trying to use Stormbreaker on him as well. However, unable to do so, it gets obliterated at that point. We then have Black Panther attacking as well. Once they figure out, he starts using the Reality Stone and the Space Stone and everything else to basically lift up all of the Earth around and open up one of the Wakandan um, mines and reactors. So it's exposing this massive amounts of energy. Um, One of the big things here that I like that they did was this is a story told by Spider-Man, so we don't hear anybody else talking other than Spider-Man. And we have him saying that Black Panther said quietly Wakanda forever, as if this was the last time, pushes Thanos into the Wakanda or the Wakandan mine, causes a massive explosion, and they get teleported out of there by a magic portal um, by none other than the people at Kamatage, who are apparently there to try to figure out what they're going to do to stop the virus. And that's where that part ends. Then we get to New Asgard. Everything I said was true. Valkyrie was there. She's not allowing them in easily. She then gets convinced to let them in when Blade admits that he is the avatar of Khonshu. And Khonshu and her talk. She lets them in, and they're all feasting. Red Guardian is feasting with the Asgardians after losing his daughter. Um, and then, they're asking about where all this food came from and everything else. And she stated that it's from um, Sokovia. And they're like, what? And it turns out to be Wanda Maximoff, who was there in human form, which confuses myself and everyone else. Well, apparently she learns how to control her powers enough to be able to cure herself, supposedly, but needs Kamala's help to figure out what needs to be done. However, we find out that she is still a zombie, made everyone in Asgard eat, or New Asgard eat zombie flesh that turns them all into zombies, and begins to start to go, well, basically just zombified in general. So then they all have to fight. We have um, the ninja and Agent Wu get ripped apart to shreds. At this point, Alexei had eaten some food, not as much as the other Asgardians, so he begins to fight everyone off. Kamala starts knocking people away from Thor, so Thor doesn't get attacked. Um, they then begin to run away. What else? So like I said, they begin to run away. They get into the ship to get out of there. Um, Weirdly enough, what's her name is convinced that they're going to go up into space and make the call. So they then try to escape. They get into the ship. They go to try to fly away. However, um, Scarlet Witch pulls them down. That's when Thor comes in and starts blasting Wanda away and everything else. He then orders them all to go and, and calls um, Kamala the new Avenger, and that she's in charge now. So they all take off while battles he battles Scarlet Witch, who we're assuming he loses, unfortunately. However, they go up into space. They try to call the Nova Corps. However, apparently the Nova Corps is already there. It basically states that nobody's allowed to leave. That they're to turn around and go back to their planet, as the planet is under quarantine. So we find out in the final episode that apparently what happens is actually I don't think we find out right away. So Nova Corps starts blasting the ship and everything else. The ship explodes. Kamala tries to hold everyone together with light. When she breaks into the Earth's atmosphere, it begins to shatter, and everyone gets teleported somewhere else. So they get teleported to Kamatage, where Spider-Man, everyone else is there, and they explain the story of what's happened. And apparently, that Bruce Banner used after Black Panther sacrificed himself to stop zombie Thanos, the Infinity Stones were destroyed. And so there's an infinite amount of energy that was kind of being released and destroying a huge, massive amount of area at the time. So Bruce Banner went in to absorb all of it, turned into a anchor being of energy, basically, in his Hulk form, question mark, because apparently neither Hulk nor Banner exists anymore. And apparently Scarlet Witch wants the power of him. And so apparently she feels that she has enough energy and power to go up against him and fight him. So the team decided they're gonna go and try to stop it from happening. So we see Hulk basically there, and she starts throwing a bunch of zombies at him. Along with Abomination. He takes them all out with ease. Then the Asgardians start coming. They start blasting him and everything else. And then at this point, Hulk is looking like he's getting defeated. Right before Scarlet Witch goes to touch the Hulk, all of a sudden she gets blasted away and sent away, and the entire remaining group of survivors show up. Oh, I forgot to say too, Red Guardian died in the last episode when they were trying to escape because he'd eaten too much flesh and turned into a zombie. I forgot to say that. So as this is going on, they begin to fight everyone off. They're pretty much doing a good job. They're slicing through Hank Pym, his wife, and then at this point, basically, Wanda's like, nobody's allowed to escape. And she's like, this is going to be inevitable. And she releases all of the zombies of everyone's friends. So Kamala sees basically the Widow family in general as zombies trying to eat her. We have Shang-Chi and Kate fighting Agent Wu, and is it Deathmaker, who are in pieces trying to eat them, and they're fighting them away. We have Then we had Thor come down, Zombie Thor, to go after Hulk. Um, what's her name? Valkyrie goes to try to stop her, but Okoye stops her, and the two of them begin to fight. And at this point now, Kamala gets blasted into over to where Scarlet Witch. I'm sorry, where the Hulk is, as he's trying to face off against Thor. However, he defeats Zombie Thor, but is badly damaged. We have pretty much everyone else dying at this point. Valkyrie gets stabbed by Okoye. We had Shang-Chi and Kate, um, Cat. It's Cat, sorry, it's Cat. Um, well, Shang-Chi we know for a fact was bitten. Cat, we don't know exactly what happened. We're assuming she's just getting eaten. Thor blasted Khonshu or Blade Knight to smithereens, um, killing him. He also killed a bunch of the other like sorcerers and everything else. The Minotaur was killed. Hope was going to eat Spider-Man, and Scott Lang was being pulled by his cape by a bunch of zombies to be eaten. And Scarlet Witch was about to touches Hulk and begins to absorb the power. Kamala tries to stop her completely, but is unsuccessful. Decides to touch her and apparently causes this massive power surge. And Kamala is back on Earth as if nothing's happened. Um, and her mother wakes her up and says that her friends are there. We see Riri and Kate Bishop. They're having like a snack in the city. All of a sudden, she starts having flashes of zombies walking around. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the street, Riri is there blasting zombies, telling Kamala that this is all fake and you need to be, you can't believe her. And that is how the season or series ends. We don't know if it's the end of it forever, but we're not 100% sure either. And there's also a flash of Scarlet Witch, the zombie Scarlet Witch, kind of doing a jump scare at the end. But that's pretty much it. So we don't know anything that happens with it. That's not true. We're assuming that it's obviously an illusion that Wanda has created with her reality warping abilities, but we don't know why she's doing what she's doing. So we'll have to wait and see, potentially. But let me know what you guys thought about this series in the comments down below. Did you like it? Did you not? And why? And as always, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a wonderful night. Bye bye.